Mark has had an injury. He has pain right on the outside of his elbow, and this is what we call tennis elbow, and generally due to an overuse injury or doing something you don't normally do, where you've overstressed the common extensor origin. In this case, Mark was doing a lot of drilling. We have got the exercises he can do to help with this, but there is also a very important caveat to this with what some new research suggests, so make sure you keep watching for that. So the common extensor origin attaches in the elbow, but it's based on movements from the wrist. If you wiggle your fingers, you'll see the muscle moving at the elbow. So this can get set off with anything where there is resistance on the hand and you're stopping the wrist from bending. So this can be just lifting something up or pouring a kettle, or anything where moving the wrist into extension, like brushing a dog or washing a car. Honestly, it's not until you've got this pain you realise how much you actually use those muscles. So let's look at what exercises Mark can do to work on this area and help rehab it. Exercise number 1. This is the beginning exercise to start on, and make sure you can tolerate this before moving on. Have your forearm resting on a surface, and then it's simply just holding a weight with the palm facing down, so you activate that common extensor origin. You can progress or regress this by changing the weight you hold or the time you hold it for. You want to gradually build this up, ensuring you aren't making any symptoms worse during or following the exercise. If you overload with the exercises, you can make symptoms worse, as it'd be the same as irritating it with activities you're doing in the day. Exercise number 2. Now, this is an exercise for the rotator cuff, but strengthening the shoulder is important, and you'll rarely use the elbow without using the shoulder. So if your shoulder is weaker, the elbow can end up taking more. Doing this external rotation will also give activation of the common extensor origin, because you'll be keeping the wrist neutral while you do it. So a great double whammy exercise. Again, adjust this by changing the weight and the rep number that you're doing. Exercise number 3. Progressing things further, you'll now be adding movement at the wrist, focusing on the eccentric portion of the movement. Grab the weight and lower slowly through range. Use your other hand to help lift it back up and repeat. Change the weight and the number of reps to change the difficulty here as well. Exercise number 4. So with this one, you're going to be moving through the range, doing the concentric and eccentric parts of the movement. This will be further down the line with rehab as things are starting to improve. Keep it slow and controlled, lowering the weight the same with the eccentric one, but this time lifting it up as well. Change the weight and reps again to adjust this to either make it harder or make it easier. Exercise number 5. This is also one for when things are starting to improve, where you rotate the wrist from palm down or pronation and move it towards palm up or supination. This movement will still get the extensors working well. Again, adjust the weight and reps accordingly. So this caveat, if we look at the research at what other things can help, we have conflicting advice. Most would agree now that doing something like a steroid injection isn't advised and can at times lead to worse outcomes. There is a study that says that exercises are good with a focus towards eccentric training, which is exercise number 3. However, it also says deep friction can be good. This is generally highly contested, but still very common in practice currently. You then have a more recent review from 2021 saying that exercises would be recommended, but an even more recent one from 2022 saying exercises and other current treatments aren't recommended. In time, it will likely be that it gets better by itself, and a lot of time for tennis elbow, it's really normal that it can linger, and typically can last around a whole year for people. Not that it will be constantly that bad over the year, but where it will keep getting set off and you'll feel like you won't be able to get rid of it. But in time, even with no treatment, it will eventually improve. Just work at trying not to aggravate it. It's natural that things will continue to be contested over the years. Currently though, we would say give exercises a go. It would make sense to keep the area strong so you're less likely to lose capacity in the elbow and shoulder if using this less overall due to pain. When following these exercises, you want to make sure they aren't irritating or you're doing too much too quick. So it's really important to follow the steps in this video here to ensure that you're getting things right and get back to the things that you want to be doing.